All right, welcome to this month's new feature recap webinar. Today we are going to cover the topics for August, but let's give everyone about a minute to join on in. It seems like a lot of people are still joining. Just to do a tech check, can you guys hear me? Drop it in the chat. Perfect. Everyone can hear me. Where are you guys calling in from? I'm actually calling in from Greece right now, so it is really late over here. So sorry if I look a little tired. Um, San Diego, Florida, Calgary, New York. Do we have anyone in Europe joining me today? Okay, we got someone in Canada. Let's get some people in the questions. Okay. All right. All right, let's get this started. It looks like everyone has joined. So today we're going to cover a lot of the new features that we released last month, but we're going to spend a majority of the time talking about some of the new features that will be coming this month and the next month throughout the rest of this quarter. Because we have a lot of really big, exciting updates, and also we didn't release as many updates as we usually do last month because we're really focused on some really big updates that I'm going to share with you today, and then I've shared in some of the other webinars. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is this. Okay, share my screen. All right, perfect. Awesome. So one of the first things I want to share, one of the big updates that we made this month was to task sections. So the previous month, we released a big update, and that was the ability to create sections for your tasks. So you don't have to have all your tasks in one big task list. You can actually have them in multiple sections to better organize your tasks. One big feedback that came through, though, is people wanted the ability to duplicate their sections because a lot of people were using the sections to maybe break out multiple weeks. So you have like your weekly bookkeeping task, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. A lot of those are the same week to week. You don't have to recreate them over and over again. So now you have an option here. You click the 3 dots to duplicate the section. So I can click this, and you can see that it made an exact copy of the section that I duplicated it from. It just makes it easier to create your workflows and use sections if that's something you're wanting to start to use in your firm. Okay, Shannon says she loves sections. I actually would love to see, is everyone else enjoying that update, the new team task sections? Okay, a lot of people seem to like that. That's great. Um, so that's gonna be my next thing, Tiffany. Let me go back and pull this up. So the next thing, before I go into the next piece, is hiding custom fields. So we've had some firms that have asked for the ability to hide the custom fields from certain team members. So like, let's go to a better example. Go to Adeline Collins. There's a lot of like sensitive information on this client. Maybe you don't want contractors to be able to see this information. So you now have a user permission for view custom about fields. And you can prevent certain levels of members from viewing those fields. So what that's going to do then is when they go to the client's dashboard, they won't see those fields displayed here or inside the client's profile. So just giving you some better user permissions for certain team members. Terry, team tasks or task sections? They use it interchangeably. Okay, so the next thing was, so the next two things are two updates to recats. So if you haven't used our recats feature yet, basically it was released, I think about 2-3 months ago, and it helps you better manage client uncategorized transactions. So a lot of the times what we saw firms were doing is they have a lot of QBO transactions for the clients. They need to know what they're for, how to categorize them. And they're having to download them into a spreadsheet and then email that spreadsheet to the client. Then they would have to follow up and chase that client down to get a response and get them to fill out that spreadsheet. Then once they got it, they had to go load it back into QBO or manually update in QBO. This took a lot of time, whether it was chasing the down or the manual data entry process and creation process. So we created a new feature called Recats that make it a lot easier for firms to manage these transactions. Basically, what it does is you can pull all those uncategorized transactions into the client profile and then view them and ask the client what they're for. The client will see that in their portal. They can tell you what they're for, and then you can push the documents, the descriptions from the client, and update the categorizations here into QBO, making it a lot easier to manage that process. So we've been getting a lot of feedback from the users using this feature, and there was a few things they wanted to see. So one was in the categorizations, the ability to search by the QBO category numbers. So I don't have any category numbers in my QBO account, but if you had them, you would see them under here, and now you can search by them to make it easy to find those categories. Also, is this approved tab. So now, if you approve any of these transactions inside of Financial Sense, they are automatically pushed to QBO, and you can see the updated transactions with all the information and the description and the documents. But now you can also view those past approved transactions inside Financial Sense. So you can see the documents that the client uploaded here or what the client said about it. So you have a better audit trail around past approved client transactions. So those were two big updates that we were getting from, or requests that we were getting from our clients. So Mary, what the client sees in their portal is basically all the transactions that you specifically asked about. They can see all of this information, and then except for the category, and then just tell you what it's for. And then it comes back in here, and then you can update and categorize it. So I have a question. I'm going to run a poll on this. We've had a lot of firms that have been using the Recats feature. They've been seeing a lot of value from it. It's saved them a lot of time. It's helped streamline this process. But I've noticed that there's still a lot of firms not using the Recats feature yet. So I want to run a poll. So let me pull this poll up to better understand why. So let's launch this poll. So basically, I want to ask why you're not using transactions. It could be you just didn't know it existed, but haven't had time to do it. Maybe there's some functionality missing. You want to add you need certain features before you start to use it. Like some people want split transactions, for example. Maybe use a different solution, right? Maybe you're using something like Uncat or Keeper to manage your uncategorized transactions. Just want to better understand why certain firms haven't actually used the feature yet. Okay, I'm going to give just about another minute or two, or another 30 seconds for this while I look at some questions. Mhm. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to end the poll. So it is already integrated with QuickBooks Online. Someone asked if it will be integrated with QBO. Okay, so let's see. Next thing. So the next thing I want to ask about Recats or not about recap. So we covered a lot of the releases. So just to recap, duplicate task sections, ability to hide custom fields, ability to see approved transact recats, and ability to search by the QBO category number for recats and categorizing them. Now, again, we didn't release a lot of big features this last month because we're really focused on making some huge updates to the system that you guys have been asking for. So now I'm going to talk about some of those. So the first one I want to talk about is client task sections. So as we talked about before, about a month ago, we released a big new update that allowed you to have task sections. So you can organize your tasks into different sections, which is great. You can also minimize them. You know, you also have the ability now, like if you have subtasks, you can view those subtasks without clicking in. A lot of big benefits came with this. But a big one that we want to do is take client tasks and move them into this view. And I'm excited to say that that is coming this month. It actually may be released next week. So let me show you what this is going to look like in one of the designs. So this is just as an example, it doesn't have like real-time data in it, but you can see like this is a team task, like so an internal task section for your team, just like we saw here, right? So now you're also going to see a client task section in the same view as your team task sections. So you'll be able to identify it by seeing some of these. You'll have some extra action items on the task. So you can have a ask for like, please upload your bank statements, or it could be, please sign this document. And then your client, so the huge benefit of this is now you're gonna have an actual legit workflow. So you can have your team task first, then your client request, then another set of team tasks, and then you could also have a second client request. So a lot of you that use client tasks and requests right now want to be able to send specific requests at different times throughout the project. So they're not all in one list at once. So now you're going to be able to do that. And not only that, you're also going to be able to send it to different people. So this client request could go to one person on one contact at the client, but the other client request that comes in later could go to a different contact at the client, which is great. It's also going to have some other improvements. So right now inside Financial Sense, you can schedule when you want the client request to send, and you can send it manually. You're going to have a new dependency option, which will basically say, send this client request to the client, maybe when a certain section of tasks are completed. So when your team completes this section of tasks, it will automatically send the client request. So it can be dependent on other sections. Another big improvement is going to be in automations, which will go for client tasks and team tasks, where maybe when your client completes uploading all the documents or the action items, you can change the start date, due date, or internal due date of the project automatically. Or even in internal teams tasks, when those tasks are completed, you can trigger the due date of the project and start date of the project to update. This is great for tax firms. So you know when everything comes in from the client, the project can start immediately. And you can keep track of when the documents came in. Let's see. So this is a really big update, and it should be released hopefully in the next 2 weeks. So one other big thing that's going to happen is by moving client tasks into the same view as the team tasks, it's no longer going to have the client tasks, right? Because it's going to be the same view of these tasks. So what you're going to see now is a client chat tab instead. And basically with this update is also coming the like centralized client communication. So in this example, inside when you click client chat, you're going to be able to chat with your clients now. And you can have multiple topics, right? So many different discussions with your client. You can also control which contacts have which client contacts have access to that chat. So you can chat to different people at company about different topics, and which team members will have access to that communication with the client. So basically, you have a centralized client communication across all your projects. So now you're not having to go to different projects to find when you spoke to that client about that one thing. It'll all be centralized on the projects and on the client profile, improving client communication. What this also do is allow you, if you wanted to, replace email. Because now inside, so if I go to, let me see if I can find it in here. So I can't show you now, but what this is also going to do is inside the client portal, there will be a communication tab. So now your client's going to be able to communicate with you from inside the portal, and it doesn't have to be related to a request or a project anymore. So now you can ditch email or have one place for your clients to go to communicate with you for your requests, for your transactions, and other things. Yes, you can format the chat text. You will get notifications when they send you a message. There will be a recording. Yep, links will show as clickable. We retain all the client chat history. Let's see, is there any other questions? You will be able to assign different client task notifications to different client contacts. But team members, everyone on the project will get updated about those notifications. A client can start a conversation, but we're gonna have the ability for you to turn that off if you don't want that. Okay, perfect. So let's see. Another big update that's gonna be coming probably more closer to the end of the month or early October is the first version of billing. So basically, we've had a lot of our firms that want to be able to invoice and bill their clients outside of Financial Sense. One, because they don't want to use multiple portals for the clients to go handle communication, requests, billing. They all want one place for the client to go to have everything they need. They also want that internal billing information all in one platform where the work is getting done. You can tie it with work. You have more automations, as well as a bunch of other big features like text reminders for them to pay your bill, auto pay, proposals, all this type of stuff to where you can get paid faster. So I want to show you a little bit about what that looks like. Oops, hold on one second. Okay, so basically inside Financial Sense soon, you're going to see a billing tab. Here you'll be able to view all your invoices that are outstanding or in different stages. So you'll see the different stages. You can filter down those different stages if you want. And you also have many different filters. Then you'll also be able to create invoices. So this is very similar to QB, the look and feel of QBO, but with more advanced functionality. So you can have invoice templates, do one-time or recurring payments. So if you do recurring, you have the ability to set the schedules. You can set client reminders, so reminding them to pay the invoice until it gets paid. You can choose between bank transfer and card options. Ability to also auto charge the client, and then add the service items and descriptions. And then when you click that, you'll be able to view it, what it's going to look like for the client, what the invoice will look like, and the payment page. So this is kind of like an example of what the client would see. So again, very similar to QuickBooks design because it's very simple, it's very client friendly, and very easy to use. But on the client side, they're also going to have a lot more capabilities than they would paying a QBO invoice. For example, this is what the client's going to see in the invoice when they're trying to get paid. Let me open this. And then they can pay their invoice. But if you go to, let's see, the next piece, inside the portal, they'll also be able to see their payment methods that they have saved. they'll be able to see all outstanding invoices, which you can't do in QBO, and they can pay all of them at once if there's a lot of outstanding invoices. And there's a lot of other functionality we're going to be adding. Like we're going to hopefully try to add the ability to pass on the credit card fees to the client if that's something you like to do. Be able to lock deliverables behind a paywall. A lot of big updates. So you, again, just allow you to better, more efficiently invoice and get paid, but just get paid faster with some advanced functionality. We'll be using Stripe for the merchant. With client. So with the chat feature, yes, you could set it for different departments. So only certain departments will have access to certain chats on the client and company side, and the whole company will not get notifications. We're planning to launch the billing in Q4. Client chat will be searchable. Voiding invoices will be possible. You can set up auto payments. So a big piece of that we're going to be doing is make it very easy for your clients to save their card information, and then you being able to auto charge the information and not having them to manually pay every single time. We won't have installments, at least in the first version. We will have a QBO integration, so all payments and invoices will be synced, so you don't have to do double entry. We'll have a lot of similar design as QBO payments, but a lot more advanced functionality. It will push the invoices to QBO. I don't know about the time yet for the ACH deposits. Multi-currency will be possible. Don't have any drafts of what proposals will look like for our client engagements because we haven't really designed that functionality yet. But this is the core that we plan to release in the first version, and we're going to be adding on functionality onto it as we go. Let's see, I think there's more Q&A. So the ability to push changes across projects from a template is something we're still working on. It may get pushed into Q4, but it will be this year. Shannon, I believe so. I have to check with the team on that. In terms of what will cost to process the payments, it'd be competitive. So it's if anything more affordable than probably some of the options you're using now. It won't integrate with Xero invoicing at first. We still are waiting on the Xero integration or the Xero team to open up their APIs for that. So I have some questions about billing, and I want to launch a poll. So I'm gonna launch a poll real quick. I want to know what you use to bill your clients currently. Here's some of the popular options that we've seen, but curious to see what everyone is using. In a minute. Looks like there's some more questions. All right, so I'm going to close this poll. So most of you are using QuickBooks Online in this poll. So now I have another question. For a lot of you, so since most of you are using QuickBooks Online, I have a question specifically. So only the people that are using QuickBooks Online to bill their clients are the only ones I want to answer this poll. So I'm going to launch it. For those of you that are using QuickBooks Online to bill your clients, have you looked at other options? Okay, so it's about 50-50 right now. Now, I have a question I want to ask, and I want people to drop this in the comments. Since about 50% of you have looked at other options outside of QBO, why haven't you switched? Why haven't you switched from QBO if you're looking at other options and there are better options out there? So someone switched. So I want to know more of like why people haven't switched from QBO if they're interested in looking at other options. Like what's keeping you on QBO, basically? Convenience, they're recurring and they're pre-programmed. Some people are testing the pros and cons still. QuickBooks is simple. We did switch for payments. Haven't found someone to do recurring. I like everything in one place. Great proposal platform. Number of apps to a minimum, so you don't want to have another whole app to worry about. Just reading through some of these. Rates, Asian processing, this kind of rates. Okay, a lot of good feedback here. Thank you. Um, okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to end this poll. So we talked a lot about billing. Now, another big thing that we're going to be releasing is a template library. So one, a lot of new firms that are coming in, maybe they haven't documented the processes yet. And they want to know how to best do a tax return or a monthly bookkeeping process. Or maybe they have their processes documented, but they want to know how are other firms using Financial Sense to better manage these workflows? Is there automations I'm not thinking about? Is there a way to structure this where I can be more efficient and better manage like bookkeeping and tax processes? So we're planning to release a template library that is built by our community. So it's peer driven. So our users can share their workflows with other firms so they can see how other firms are doing it. So to help answer those questions and to help all of our customers better utilize the platform and get more efficient with their workflows. And the thing I love about this is we released a template sharing feature, a few weeks ago, and we did a webinar, and a lot of people, it was basically a workflow swap. So people were swapping their different workflows. And the thing is, you have to give to get, right? So a lot of people were sharing their templates, and other people were also, it was encouraging other people to share. So people were seeing different workflows and how they could do different processes, and a lot of people got a lot of value out of it. And this is us doing that at a bigger scale. So to kind of show what this looks like, right? So basically you'd be able to see all the different templates. You could see the most popular templates and then who shared them and a little bit about that firm. And when you click into one, you'll be able to see the actual workflow template, a description about it, and like what it includes. And then also you could see some of the top workflow specialists, so the top contributors, the people that have created templates, who have had the most downloads across all their templates, and click and view their templates and learn and see them. So a big part of this is not only also just creating better templates for all our users, help them better use the product, better optimize the workflows, but also celebrating the people that contribute. And there's going to be special rewards, events, access to our team, a lot of really cool things that the people that contribute to this library will get. But not only that, our goal is we hope that a lot of people will share their templates to just better the community. We got an amazing Facebook user community that's done really well, and it's kind of building off that. So, any questions about this template library? No, there was no extra cost for this. That was the big thing is we didn't want to create a paid template library. We wanted to create a template library that's free so people can get the templates they need without having to spend a lot of money. So the tag creation, that is something we're going to resolve with the template library. Anyone will be able to access the template library, right? It's going to be a open source, peer-to-peer driven community where people are sharing their workflows with each other. In the first version of the template library, there isn't going to be like communication or comments, but there will be ways to indicate like which templates are popular and people are seeing value out of. So real quick, what do you guys think about the template library? There wasn't a lot of questions. Is this something you think you get a lot of value out of? Okay, a lot of love. I love it. Um, so the last thing, and this is something we're working on, it's probably going to be later released. So this is will be in Q4, but I know a lot of people have been asking about this, so I want to give you guys a sneak peek. Um, and that is client resources. So basically, a lot of people have been asking to add a resources page in the client portal where they can put all types of information for the client. So actually, let me show you this one first. So imagine the client portal, where you see requests, documents, and we have billing, invoices, and then resources. And here you can have information about like guidelines, you can have links to certain resources, you can documents, you can put really anything in here for your client to view. And how it's going to work is on the client profile, you'll be able to have a blank page slate where you can type in whatever you want. You can format things, you can link the documents, you can upload screenshots, all this type of information, and then publish it to the actual client's portal. So now your client has all their resources, their documents, their invoices, and requests all in one place. And then even communication. So that's not showing, but also communication if you use that feature. So everything your client needs in one easy to use portal. So you can cut down on all the several apps. You can have less apps in your tech stack. But also, more importantly, one place, right? A single source of truth for all your clients to go to get everything that they need. Uh, let's see. So, um, you can put links on it. You can put documents. You can put screenshots. You can put videos. Really anything that you want your client to know. It's really like an open form document or like a Notion or whatever for your clients that you can share with them. So Russell, yes, you can store sensitive information on the portal. It's all secured. So some people are saying, asking if we can call it something else. Drop it in the chat. Like, what would you like to call this? Is resources a good thing to call it, or should we call it something different? Any ideas? Variable. We hope invoicing to be available Q4, early Q4. Resources Q4. Okay, it looks like resources is winning. But if there does seem to be some confusion with it, we can always look at changing it later down the road. But I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek into this. Goal is to release this in Q4 as well. But I'm really excited about this because this has been very much requested across the board. So that's everything. We talked about some of the stuff that was released this last month. I've talked about some of the new things coming. The soonest within the next 2 weeks is the client task sections in the unified client chat. Those have been big ones that you guys have been wanting. So that's coming soon. Billing coming after that, early Q4 is the goal for that. And then template library and client resources. Let's see, is there any other questions? I will be uploading this recording to YouTube and we'll be sending out a recording to everyone. So improvements for document management, most of that's going to be coming next year. Don't have exact ETA on Kanban View yet. We don't have it. We haven't decided if we want to do a form builder yet. That's a good question, Shannon. I have to check with the team on the next task due date. No timeline on share file integration. And I don't know, Kira, that's it. I haven't heard that feedback before, but that's something we can look into. Yes, these Zoom meetings are the same time on the first Wednesday of every single month. No updates on the API rollout or when we can get a calendar integration. Okay, so I got through most of the questions, but if you guys have more questions that I didn't get through on this webinar, please feel free to reach out to our chat support team and they should be able to help you answer those. But I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm really excited. The next month's monthly recap webinar should be really exciting. We're going to be talking about some big updates, especially client task sections and chat. So be sure not to miss that one. And thanks for joining us. See you guys next time. Remember, first Wednesday every month, same time. Take care, everyone.